Welcome to the Osmo Early Bird Podcast. It's your old pal Emac coming to you with one Adam Ship my money share as we get ready for a 9-game Thursday main slate. So happy it's Thursday. We have an early game, San Francisco on a getaway day in Chicago, finishing up their series with the Cubs. You want to hear about that? Get on behind the Slack chat. That would be behind the paywall, the premium Slack chat. Use the promo code EARLYBIRD, get 50% off any weekly or 1 month package. Adam, we've had a lot of baseball that has not gone our way. How are you feeling these days?
Yeah, baseball's been pretty frustrating lately. A lot of just random pitching performances that haven't worked out. But it's baseball. It happens. You go through streaks like that, and then eventually it turns around.
Yeah, I think for me it was just kind of a bit of a shock to be losing like 80% of my entry fees 3 days in a row. That hadn't happened for quite some time. You get the days where you lose a chunk, but usually it's within, I get 60-70% back of my bankroll or my money in play, or make, 5, 10, 20%. And then you have those nice days where you double or triple up. But goodness gracious, this has not been very fun. The one night I did well was the Brendan McKay night, where I lucked into a Tom Murphy, Austin Nola, and Matt Adams over there on Yahoo, and I got fourth in the Yahoo management fee-free contest. So I wanted to bring that up because Yahoo, the presenting sponsor of the Early Bird Podcast, we'll talk about them a little bit later. But Adam, let's jump right on in. We do have 9 games, as I mentioned. That means 18 pitchers. We will talk about each of them. First one's going to be a good one. We have Washington finishing up their series in Pittsburgh. Chance of scattered showers. It's going to be in the low 70s at first pitch. We have breeze going out from 6 to 9 miles an hour to right field. And we have one Maximilian Scherzer back on the mound. It has been, oh boy, a long time, it feels like, since Scherzer has pitched. He's been on the injured list dealing with the sore back. He last pitched on July 25th, and then the time before that he pitched was July 6th. So this will be just his third start since the 4th of July. Adam, what do you want to do? He did have a simulated game of 64 pitches.
It's going to be really tough to get to him, I think. It's really unusual to have a slate where Scherzer isn't the best pitcher on it, but that's the case here. He's basically the same price as Garrett Cole. He is, I think, the same price on Yahoo and about the same on FanDuel and DraftKings. Tougher matchup for Scherzer going against Pittsburgh. You have whatever questions about how deep he can go into the game. 64 pitch simulated game, like you said. I assume he's relatively stretched out, but I also assume that Garrett Cole will have a longer leash, which gives him an advantage. So I would need ownership to be pretty heavily in favor of Cole for me to start getting Scherzer in the lineups as good as he is.
Yeah, and that I think is definitely the way to go. This is the wait and see approach. Now, Scherzer, pretty amazing. He's no stranger to going into the the 100 and change pitches, usually low 100s, but he will get up into the 100 and teens from time to time. The Nationals are not going to be taking any chances with him, especially since they still have some playoff hopes on the line. On the other side here, just close the wrong screen. We have Steven Brault coming in at 5,400. Going against the Nationals there. Nationals coming in with a 5.1 implied run total. Not as many terrifying righties as one would think with the Nationals. They do have Rendon. Howie Kendrick, however, playing a prominent role. Whoever is catching either Kurt Suzuki or Yan Gomes should be nice. Victor Robles is the right-handed Cole Calhoun, I've decided, Adam, based upon their batting averages and power upside. What do you want to do here with Steven Brault in I'm going to call it a neutral matchup against the Nationals?
Yeah, I don't think I'll get there. He's cheap enough where it's kind of appealing, but I think it's a pretty tough matchup because of the lack of strikeouts. Turner, Eaton, Rendon, Soto, Kendrick, Suzuki, all low strikeout guys. Brian Dozier, I think, is supposed to be back. Robles, strikes out, but he's a dangerous hitter as well. So I don't really trust Brault here. When he's spotting his pitches, he has pretty good stuff, but the command and control is still an issue. So I'd rather have the Nats.
Yeah, the one thing I do like about Brawl is does not allow a ton of power, so it makes it harder for me to consider going 8 home runs in 77 innings thus far. We'll have to see. Again, keep an eye on that weather. Continuing on here, we have Cleveland in New York taking on the Mets. Noah Syndergaard going against Aaron Savale. This one is kind of an interesting one for me. I would consider Savale here at 6,200. Syndergaard 10,300. I'm on the fence. Tough matchup there for him. Of course, Cleveland loses the designated hitter. They will have to put a pitcher out there again. How do you feel about this duo taking the mound on Thursday?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for me to get to Syndergaard. You just look at the difference between him and Garrett Cole. Cole has a 30.8% strikeout percentage this year. Scherzer is at 35.3. And then you get down to Syndergaard at 23.7. That's a pretty big gap to make up for Syndergaard when he's still over $10,000. It's not a good strikeout matchup against Cleveland, so it'll be tough for me to get there. Aaron Savali has a tough matchup against the Mets, but his salary is cheap enough where I think he has some tournament appeal. Right now, the Mets have a 4.7 implied run total, which isn't low, but it's also not particularly high. And Savali does have decent strikeout stuff. It's not a play that I would get to with a lot of confidence, but we don't have really clear-cut, strong SP2 options, but we do have pitchers we want to pay up for. So I'm willing to take a chance on Savali.
All right, let's talk Yahoo. They do have the management fee free contest, of course, that is going off on Thursday. 10 entry max, $3 entry fee, 1,500 players. Your 10 best against everybody else's 10 best, if they even put in 10. 4,500 bucks in, 4,500 out. That's what you get when there's no management fee. Reminder: if you have not yet signed up and created a DFS account, you can do so by using the promo code Osmo and coming in on our link. You can find that link in any of the Spotlight Hitters articles. Those are free. They're on the main page. If they've fallen off on the baseball header, click articles and you will find it very easily. You can also find it on Twitter. Third paragraph will tell you the instructions for which you can come in and get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports reward points for your initial DFS deposit. Here's the question, Adam. Noah Syndergaard on Yahoo is 41. Garrett Cole is 62. Is that $21 discount enough of an incentive for you?
I didn't hear who you said was 41.
Syndergaard 41.
Oh, Syndergaard.
Yep.
Probably, yeah. Like I would still rather get to Cole, but that's enough of a difference where you're getting a completely different lineup by going to Syndergaard.
Yes, and Mike Trout and whomever else is an all-star on the lineup, basically, with that extra savings from pitching. All right, let's. I walked over the Tampa Bay and Baltimore game. I don't know how I missed that one. We have Ryan Yarbrough at 9,300 here on DraftKings. We've got Asher Wojciechowski at 6,800. I'm curious on your take for Asher Wojciechowski. I think he has completed his assimilation into becoming a Baltimore Orioles pitcher. The curse has gotten to him. Adam, he has allowed 7 home runs in his last 4 starts. He has made it out of the 5th inning just once. He is averaging 95.5 pitches per outing, plus a strikeout per inning, but his ERA in those 4 starts, 6.63, the whip 1.737. No bueno. What do you want to do with Asher Wojciechowski against Tampa
I think
Bay?
that he's similar to Savali for me, where it's not a great matchup against Tampa. But I think one thing to keep in mind is you mentioned his recent struggles. He's faced Boston, Houston, the Yankees, and Toronto. The first 3 that I named, Boston, Houston, and the Yankees, all really, really tough matchups where you wouldn't expect a middle of the road pitcher to have success. He has shown good swinging strike stuff. He's shown the ability to get strikeouts even in those difficult matchups. He struck out 5 Yankees in 4 innings. He struck out 5 Astros in 6. He struck out 4 Red Sox in 4 1/3. So the strikeout stuff has still been pretty decent. It's just been the home runs and, runs allowed. But I'll take a chance on strikeout stuff and just hope that run prevention works out in his favor, especially because, again, we don't have great cheap options on this slate.
Yeah, and I thought I'd see some better numbers here since the beginning of August. So I guess that's just three weeks and change. You've got the Tampa Bay Rays with the 88 WRC plus, which is weighted runs created plus. So they are scoring 12% less than the average team, and that's overall, and that does neutralize out Tropicana Field. I figured they'd be in the top 10. They're not even close, Adam.
Yeah.
All right. I guess that's what happens when you face the vaunted Mariners pitching staff. On the other side, Ryan Yarborough going against the batters of Birdland, paying top dollar for him. He is, as I mentioned, 93 on DraftKings. He is 50. That is 5-0 over there on Yahoo. I think this is just a prohibitive price point.
Yeah, it really is. He would, if he were in like that Asher Wojciechowski price range, he would be my favorite mid-range pitcher. But at 9,300, he is expected to get the start, which is good because you can expect more pitches out of him. And he certainly has upside in this matchup. There's plenty of strikeouts in the Baltimore lineup, but he's just really expensive.
All right, that wraps up those games. Let me scroll down our list. A couple more random start time here. 7:45 for Colorado and St. Louis. We'll get to that one in just a moment. 7:20 start here. Miami wrapping up their series in Atlanta. Atlanta coming in with a 6 implied run total against Sandy. Say it with me, Alcantara. On the other side, you have Mike Soroka, 10,000 on DraftKings. I'm curious for your take. 43 on Yahoo. I definitely think that's in play. The Marlins have but a 3.6 implied run total here. Let's start off with Soroka. How are you feeling about the ground ball extraordinaire who is just learning his craft?
I think that on Yahoo, the price tag at 43 is okay. It's obviously a better matchup for him than it is for Syndergaard at $41 against Cleveland, but the strikeouts just haven't been there for Soroka. You expect him to strike out more guys in this matchup than normal, but his strikeout percentage is 19.7%. He gets by with ground balls, and because he does a very good job of keeping the ball off of the barrel, but that doesn't really translate into fantasy points. So at 43 on Yahoo, I think it's okay, but not a top play. 10K on DraftKings, it'll be really difficult for me to get there.
Yeah, against righties, his isolated power, 367 faced, 0.072. That is minuscule. Against lefties, it's 0.112. It's like he's facing, I don't know, a watered down version of Starlin Castro with every batter he faces. So there you go. Not too much to be terrified against there. All right, now if you want to hear Josh mispronounce Sandy Alcantara's last name, you can definitely tune into the DFS Strategy Show. That'll be at 9:30 on Thursday morning. We, of course, have the deep dive at 5 o'clock, and then at 6 o'clock you have Live Before Lock. That's over there on the Awesemo YouTube channel. Check it out. Hit that notification bell and subscribe so you know when we go live, which is frequently, especially during this time of year as we head into football. Adam, what do you think of the man some people will call Sandy going against the Braves?
Really, really tough spot for him. It's, of course, a very good Atlanta offense. A lot of power in that lineup, but also a park downgrade getting out of Miami. And he's not really that inexpensive. 6,600 isn't, it's cheap, but it's not as cheap as I would like it to be. He, as of last I checked, had the highest XFIP of any qualified starter this season. I would rather take a chance on Aaron Savali or on Asher Wojciechowski.
Really? I had no idea. Now I got to go look and see. Oh, that's 2 years. Well, for the last two, is he just a rookie this year, or did he pitch a little last year?
He pitched some last year.
All right, 5.78 for the 2 years combined. Just for this year, 5.86. Yikes! That is definitely up there. That's a number when you even get Ryan Zimmerman or Jordan Zimmerman that says, "Wow, buddy, you might want to try a few things differently." Moving along here. Oh, another fun with names. We have Herman Marquez going against the Redbirds. That would be the St. Louis Cardinals. I kind of like this matchup for him, but he is 10,600 on DraftKings, so clearly the algorithm likes him there. Yahoo has him at 41, so you're going to have some nice price point decisions here on Yahoo. On the other side, you have Miles. What's his last name, Adam?
Michaelis.
Mikolas. That's what I heard you
Not
say. What do you want to do with the pitchers here in this game?
I think that Marquez's salary on Yahoo is really interesting. If he's going to get less ownership than Noah Syndergaard, he becomes a pretty interesting play. It's not a great strikeout matchup against the Cardinals, but it's not like Syndergaard has a great strikeout matchup against the Indians either. Marquez has a 24.6% strikeout percentage this year, 3.47 xFIP. So his strikeout percentage is about a full point higher than Syndergaard. His xFIP is about half a run lower. His Sierra also is about a half run lower. So, and he's outside of Coors Field. Those numbers are factoring in Coors also. So I think that Marquez is a better pitcher than Syndergaard. Syndergaard has the benefit of having a little bit longer leash, going deeper in the games, and racking up some fantasy points that way. So I expect they'll project similarly, and I think that it's an ownership game between the two. On DraftKings, I would have trouble getting to Marquez either. Like I would just rather find $1,400 and get Garrett Cole.
All right, just looking at this, this will be his 5th road start in his last 7 games. He has taken on, last 8 games, he's taken on at home Miami, who he held to just 2 earned runs, the Dodgers, who he blanked with 10 strikeouts because, of course, baseball. And then San Francisco, did he have a good game against them? No, he allowed 11 earned runs because, wait for it, baseball. Let's get on here to our next game. We're into the 8 o'clock. Oh, sorry, did you have anything on Mikolas before I get out of there?
He's actually a reasonable option on this slate just because the slate doesn't give us a lot in the mid-range. He's only 7,200 on DraftKings. He's getting the Rockies outside of Coors. He's not a high strikeout pitcher at all. He has a 17.9% strikeout percentage, but he's not a terrible pitcher either. 4.27 xFIP, 4.48 Sierra. So I could see getting to some of him and just hoping for the best as far as run prevention goes.
What lefties is he going to have to deal with?
Blackmon
Murphy, for sure.
Tapia,
Murphy, yes. Tapia has been doing a little better this season. As has McMahon. Would you counter that with the stack amongst that quartet?
If Mikolas is going to get a lot of ownership, then yeah.
Okay. And the reason I asked that, for those of you listening along, over his last 280 at-bats against lefties this season, he has a 380 WOBA, 206 ISO, and those guys are actually decent. Well, Murphy is, and Blackmon certainly is. The other two guys coming into form. Now we're on to the 8 o'clock games. We've got a pair of them here. Some serious offensive environments. Well, at least for some of the teams. We have Texas in Chicago. It's going to be in the low 70s there in Chicago. We have a cross breeze going from third base to first base, 7 to 12 miles an hour, depending on your weather site of choice. It's all about the pitchers here and what we want to do with the hitters, because it's Ariel Jurado at 5,000, and then Ross Detweiler, who I still can't believe is in the league, at 4,600. First off, Adam, we do have to say, what do you want to do with the discounted pitchers here? Obviously, we don't have Coors Field on the slate, but we do have a couple other spendy guys we might want to get to. These teams have basically a 5.3 implied run total going against each other. So not the best of environments, but boy, these guys are almost free here. Jurado, Detweiler, anything at all for them.
I will probably take some chances on a $5,000 Jurado on DraftKings just because the matchup's good. He's not good, but he's not the worst pitcher on the slate.
There are quite a few vying for that title.
Yeah, that would probably be Detweiler.
All right. Jurado negative in his last 2 outings. On the season, not completely horrible. 5.4 ERA, 1.5 whip. Strikeouts are what kind of does not help him. 73 in 98 innings. So that is basically, 0.7 per inning. So not very good at all. On the other side, Detweiler, just for laughs, let's look at his numbers. 6.1 ERA. 1.6 whip. He has gone 43 innings, allowing 14 home runs in those. 41 innings with 14 home runs. That's sort of similar to Edwin Jackson.
Yeah, it's not great.
I got nothing. They both pitched for the Nationals at various points in their career. There you go. That's all I have after I compared him to Edwin. So let's skip that game. Now we get into the interesting part of things. So we were talking about this pre-show that Justin Verlander and the Houston Astros taking on Detroit Monday night were minus 550 money line favorites. I've never seen a line that high before. I don't remember seeing one that it has been over 500. I don't remember seeing any that have been over 420, 4:30, etc. But here we are again. Garrett Cole going against Jordan Zimmerman. The early line on two of the sports books I've looked at have them as the Astros as minus 500 favorites. Again, we'll have to see where that shakes out. I think that's a bit much, but who knows? Jordan Zimmerman, not great. He hasn't been completely horrible, allowed just 11 home runs this season, but over the last 2 years, pretty much garbage. Actually, since he signed that contract with Detroit after leaving the Nationals, he has been a hot mess. One more year left on that 5-year, $110 million deal, Adam. Good for him. I'm assuming you have no interest in Zimmerman whatsoever going against Houston. Is that a true statement?
Yep.
Garrett Cole, 12,000 on DK. He is the most expensive pitcher there. He is 62 on Yahoo. That is basically a buck less than where we saw Verlander. He basically has gone 100 pitches in pretty much every start since June. He's averaging in about 105. He's got one game with 95, one game with 94. Everything else is 100 or more. What do we want to do? How we feeling about back-to-back nights? Just the slaughter of the Detroit Tigers.
Same way as Verlander yesterday. Cole's been probably the best strikeout pitcher. I mean, the best starting pitcher for DFS. He has the highest strikeout percentage at 36.8%. It's 1.5 percentage points higher than Scherzer. The run prevention numbers are almost identical to Scherzer: 2.82 xFIP, 2.94 Sierra, compared to 2.84 and 2.9 for Scherzer. But he also gets the best matchup in baseball. So I, again, just have no reason not to get as much Garrett Cole as I can.
Yeah, there's not really a lot to say. The dynamic pricing on DraftKings has pretty much, let's see, half the lineup is below $3,000 for the Tigers. I think that's about all you need to know. On the other side, if you were picking a favorite hitter going against Jordan Zimmerman, would it be youngster Jordan Alvarez? Would it be Alex Bregman or somebody else?
It would be one of those two, probably Bregman, just because of the position, but you can't really go wrong.
All right, two more games to go. A little more pitching to talk about in this final quartet here. 9:37 start in Oakland. That will be a 6:37 local time. Yankees wrapping up their series there. You have Masahiro Tanaka at 7,500. That's an intriguing price point there. He's going against Oakland. Been struggling a little bit recently. Their lineup not quite as daunting as one would think. They do still have power. Not a lot of household names here, so I'm curious for your take on that. On the other side, you have Tanner Roark, who came over to the Athletics from the Cincinnati Reds at the trade deadline. He's had a couple starts here for Oakland. Not the easiest of matchups for him going against the Yankees, even though this is as I've said on the last podcast, the understudies at this point. But what do you want to do with these guys? 60 degrees at first pitch. We're looking at a 4.9 implied run total for the Yankees, 4.7 for Oakland. I thought it might be a little bit lower than that, but that's okay. I'll take it here for the pitching price points we have. What do you like one guy over the other?
I guess Tanaka because he's cheaper, but I don't really love either one. If Roark were Tanaka's price, I'd be interested. Or if the Yankees run out a lineup that's heavier on righties than I'm anticipating, I expect it to be basically split 5-4. Roark's been really good against righties as far as strikeouts go, but doesn't really get them against lefties. Tanaka hasn't been getting strikeouts really at all this year. I don't think it's a good matchup for either pitcher, so I don't really see getting to a lot of either one.
All right. So here's where I was saying, both pitchers. Tanner Roark, 27 on Yahoo. That would be significantly less than he is on DraftKings. Proportionally, that's just 2 above the minimum. That'd be about like he was, a $5,000 pitcher basically on DraftKings. How about Roark at 27 on Yahoo?
Yeah, 27 is a much different conversation. I like him a lot at that price point.
I'm just checking here. Yes, he's gone 100 pitches in his last 3 and in 5 of his last 6. And then the 4 prior to that, 98, 99, 95, 97. So ideally, your price per pitch on DraftKings may help you out. Yahoo, definitely someone worthy of consideration. We'll look at the whole Yahoo player pool in just a moment. We'll do the same with FanDuel as we start to wrap up. But we have one more game to talk about here, Adam. We have the Toronto Blue Jays and Jacob Wagspack taking on Kenta Maeda. Wagspack 7,000. I think I need more of a discount because the Dodgers have a 5.6 implied run total there. Kenta Maeda 8,100. We're hoping for what 85 pitches, depending on what Reston Dave Roberts is going to do. A little bit of a warm streak out there in LA. It's going to be 80 degrees at first pitch here. Reminder that's a 7:10 local start. Any interest at all in Wags Pack, or finish this up with Maeda?
Yeah, not interested in Wagsback. Definitely interested in Maeda. Toronto right now has a 3.5 implied run total. Maeda is only 8,100 on DraftKings, $40 on Yahoo, and 7,800 on FanDuel. The price or the mid range is pretty weak on this slate at pitcher. Maeda's thrown at least 87 pitches in 4 out of his last 5 starts. Most of the good hitters in the Toronto lineup are right-handed, with Bichette, Guerrero, Grichuk. Hernandez has some power. So I think that plays into Maeda's strengths a bit as well. I expect to roster Maeda quite a bit.
All right, I'm going to open up the old Dueling Fans here. We're going to check out their player pool. I've got Yahoo open, so let's start at the top here. There is only one name at the top because I'm excluding Ryan Yarbrough at 50. It's Garrett Cole at 42. So our potential pivots, Soroka 43, Syndergaard 41, Herman Marquez 41, Maeda 40, Aaron Savale 39. Which of those guys, or how many of them, do you like more than Cole with that 50% discount?
More than Cole, 0.
Okay. Even with that I'm sorry, I said 35% discount. What? Okay, I see that. Amongst those guys down at that next level, rank them, please. Marquez, Syndergaard, Maeda, Savale would be my guess.
Marquez, Syndergaard, Maeda, Savale.
All right. Now, cruising on down to the bottom, Sandy Alcantara, 28. Jordan Zimmerman, 25. Ariel Hirado, 30. Tanner Roark, 27. I'm assuming Alcantara and Roark would be the only two.
Roark would be one for sure. Probably Hirado second.
Okay.
And then Alcantara.
Okay. And is that more just because he's going against the White Sox?
Yeah, it's Sandy Alcantara actually has a lower strikeout percentage than Ariel Hirado. He has a higher walk percentage. He has a higher xFIP, higher SIERA, and he's got the worst matchup.
All right. There we are. Let's quickly look over here at FanDuel. Yikes. There we go. Boy, FanDuel, come on. Your interface is out of control here. All right. So Garrett Cole, 12,200. Syndergaard, 10,000. Yarbrough at 9, Marquez at 88. I think amongst all those, it's still got to be Cole. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. Now, Herman Marquez, 88. Maeda, 78. Let's see. Yeah, really nobody else after that. Where would you consider cash games at all with Marquez or Maeda? That's a better question.
No, I think Cole kind of has to be in your cash game lineups.
All right, and then scrolling down all the way to the bottom, yeah, no, it's not worth it because the one downside on these guys, that Alcantara, Hirado, Brault, they don't have enough strikeout upside, and then just because there's one pitcher, you don't really get that benefit of taking an extreme savings because there's really not that many offensive environments on Thursday's slate. No Coors Field, no Texas. You would be looking at Houston going against Jordan Zimmerman there, but I don't think that's worth sacrificing a pitcher that much to get to those guys. Any final thoughts, Adam, as we get on out of here?
Nope. I think that's it. I'll have the deep dive out around 2 or 3 Eastern. I'll be on the deeper dive at 5 Eastern as well.
All right. With that, gamers, we're going to get on out of here. Reminder, we do have free preseason content. There are some big contests out there. There's some free rolls out there as well. Go ahead and check those out. But we have free preseason NFL. We also have free season-long NFL, including a best ball game or team-by-team recaps broken down with training camp updates, along with best ball thoughts, season-long thoughts, DFS thoughts, and wagering thoughts. That, of course, comes from Ben Rasa, who does a lot of that on the side. If you want to follow Adam on Twitter, you can at ShipMyMoneyDFS. I am at EMACDFS. And of course, it is Osmo_COM. With that, gamers, good luck.